Hello and welcome to Frank's School. I'm going on with the guided viewing of Britain's past. I keep changing the name. I think eventually, for a while, I may call it Frank's Gloss of Herrera. Alan Herrera is the host of what I'm using now, and will for quite a while, I think. I think I can do better today than before because I'm not going so far, and I also know a little bit already of this history. I'd ask you to start in episode 1. I'll try to remember to give the link in the description. 26 minute, 21st second, up to there. So we're only talking 9 minutes. It's going to be about, that's up to the point of Henry II and his death. So it'll basically be about Henry II. And, it occurred to me, since he had lost a battle just before he died, a big battle with his oldest son, Richard, there is that theme, I called it, in the first year of my teaching when I went through archetypes and themes: the rebellious son, David versus Absalom, Adam versus God, again and again, Zeus versus Kronos. I mean, it's so common in literature. Well, here it's being acted out. Now, Henry was the son of Matilda, if it helps any, the Empress Matilda. As I've suggested, a very interesting life, a very interesting woman. And he married Eleanor of Aquitane. Now, I say QV, that means quod vide, which see. Go check her out. What an interesting life, what an interesting woman. You just really need to read about her. She was the richest girl in France, I think. She was orphaned early. He explains this. She had affairs in one case with a father and then the father's son, and the father's son was Henry II. She went on a crusade. One of the crusades she went when she was married to the French king. She and about 100 other women went along on the crusade, which was disastrous. But you could read about that. I mean, he doesn't. Alan Herrera just mentions that, I think, but I looked into it. Whoa, it's really interesting. Now, what I did know about her already is this idea of courtly love. And as I've said before, a lot of this isn't maybe as certain as I present it, but it seems like that, whether it was specifically at her court, it was at that time that Western ideas about courtesy and manners and love and the existence of a lady and how a gentleman should treat a lady, they evolved around that time, maybe at her court in Aquitaine. Now, if you want to hear me talk more about this, and I think the stuff I said was more or less right, the first year, 112th day, second video, if you would type that in, there I go into that matter of courtly love at Aquitaine, I think is what I call it. And I've got quite a few views. People have been interested in hearing what I have to say about that. Now, I only recently learned that a German equivalent of this was Frau Min. I still don't know that much about her, but for any Germans that are watching this and trying to understand me, you might look into that in your own past. Now, she was imprisoned, I think, for 16 years by her husband. And let's see, Peter O'Toole and Katharine Hepburn played the parts in a movie called Lion in Winter about that area. Now, I particularly do not like the actress Katharine Hepburn, and so I'm not too anxious to watch that again. But anyway, it's there. Now, in the background, there is this struggle between centralizing forces. I said I'm looking at this through a decentralist eye, but you can get sort of sucked up by all these family details and only think about the center, the king, the church. But there are the barons. I mean, there's a struggle against the barons in England who want to be independent. Also, the church. I mean, the church is another great centralizing factor. And who's it going to be? The king or the church? And they struggle it out. But in the meantime, you know, I'm interested in what were the ordinary people doing. And related to that, Westminster Abbey, you've already seen quite a few shots of it, Westminster Abbey, and I think you're going to see Canterbury Cathedral as well. Well, you know, I look at that, and I had said before, there's another kind of memory or history, and that's that of the craftsman. I look at that and I think people were building that. Actually, it took hands and muscles to lift that stone and cut that stone and build that. And that makes an entirely different kind of statement about the past, Britain's past. An amazing building, Westminster Abbey. Well, you'll hear about Thomas Becket. He was the Archbishop of Canterbury. He had been a great friend of Henry II, but then he was murdered in the cathedral, and there's a play about that called Murder in the Cathedral, and then he became a martyr. Well, not, you know, maybe the next one. I think we can probably go to the end tomorrow. In a way, I'm sorry I'm going so slowly, but now I feel like I'm getting a handle on this. And remember, I'm using the kings and queens of England as a backbone. I'm also looking out into what was going on in the rest of Europe, mostly. Okay, bye for now.